Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now June 1st of 2023. We are 30 days out from, of course, Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny, and a lot of fans are really awaiting to see what the fan response is going to be like, how Disney's going to react, how Lucasfilm is going to react to the entire backlash that is awaiting, because there's not a lot of great things that are coming out of Indiana Jones 5, especially after Cannes Film Festival, and especially how Kathleen Kennedy has been getting so very defensive over a lot of questions regarding Indy 5, Skeleton Crew, the Acolyte, and just everything Indy and Star Wars altogether. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, and without wasting too much of your time, let's get right into the subject. Now, as you all know, Kathleen Kennedy has been really taking her time answering a lot of questions related to Indy 5 and has not really been saying the greatest things, to say the least. She's been talking about James Mangold, Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and how they contributed to the story so very well. And let's just face it, when we look at Phoebe Waller-Bridge, alright, she hasn't said the greatest things about the fans either, especially about the fans that have been raising concern over the critics coming out of Cannes Film Festival. So you could see that not only the creators are trying to defend this story, but also the performers, the actors and actresses, right? So on to the next thing. This is where things get very intense with Kathleen Kennedy, and it's really not a big surprise to say the least. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy now beginning to promote Indy 5, Skeleton Crew, and The Acolyte, she recently went on to respond to many questions and got very defensive. Kennedy stated the following to fans in response to the fan backlash toward both Star Wars and Indy 5. Well, we are 30 days out from releasing this thing, and I am just disgusted with the type of response that we have been getting from the fan reactions to the small amount of critics that have been reviewing our film. I think it's just childish behavior, and I will say this again, but out of fear of change. I think these fans have come to realize that we are past George's vision and treatments and are embracing a new path with both Indy and even Star Wars, with projects like Acolyte, for example. These loud and opinionated fans feel we are threatening their childhoods, and that's just not true in the least. I spoke this over with James, and we both made sure to not listen to the fans. That was my number one go-to, to not listen to fans, because it interferes with your storytelling and what you want to write, so I think I gave great advice to Mangold. Now let me pause here quick about what Kennedy's putting out here, is that she keeps talking about like these moments where she brings up how fans think that their childhoods are getting ruined and this and that. She always likes to keep bringing this up, almost like she's trying to kinda in a way insult fans, in a very strange way. I don't know why she's so bent on bringing this up every single time, and especially bringing up the fact that she thinks that fans are scared or afraid of change in these stories, and that's not the case at all. What's really happening here is fans are just fed up and they're just tired of their favorite brands, their favorite franchises getting tainted with this stuff that Kathleen Kennedy is throwing on top of it. We've seen this happen with a lot of Star Wars projects. We've seen this happen now, of course, with the Willow series, and it's happening again with Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. And the character Helena has a lot to do with it, and a lot to do with it. We'll talk about that at another time, but Kathleen Kennedy here, you can see that each day that passes by, she's growing more and more defensive, because she knows that her job is on the line over at Lucasfilm as the president of the company. But I always say this, I'm still very on edge about that, because what does Disney really view of what's bad and what's good when it comes to box office results, right? What is their perception of that? Even if this movie becomes below average, is that going to be bad in Disney's eyes? Or is that going to be like, oh, we did a pretty decent job? I'm really curious to see how Disney is going to react to the underperforming box office that's looming for this actual movie. So, moving on to the next thing here, alright? This is where things begin to get a little bit more intense. She goes on to say, he did a good job, she's talking about Mangold, by the way, with all of that. We are confident that by detaching from George's treatments and vision, we finally have a couple products of great value that will change these two major brands. I remember George coming up to me with his concerns about Dial of Destiny, and it took a lot of time trying to make him understand that we had to change the theming of this movie. He wasn't okay with that, in fact. He completely disagreed with our vision, and that's just not how, of course, and that's just how it had to be for us to do something new for our audience. It was our decision to bring in Helena to teach Indy, and we think that was a great addition to our story. So again, here she goes. She's pointing it out that Helena is going to be a teacher to Indiana Jones in the Dial of Destiny. And it makes no sense to me, at least, because she's been considered to be the goddaughter of Indiana Jones. You would think it would be the opposite, where Indiana Jones is teaching Helena, about, all of his discoveries, about what he knows, about his knowledge, stuff like that. No, what's happening here is you're getting a reversal of what's happening. You're getting Helena teaching Indy, leading the way, and it's really nothing new here with Kathleen Kennedy. This always happens. So, look, I've said this many times. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is no saint, in my opinion. She has really downplayed the fans. She has talked down against Star Wars fans, too. She has called them, very immature for not liking the sequel trilogy. She's also dropped the word childish for not liking the sequel trilogy. And look, people have opinions. People have specific emotions and reactions to what they like and dislike. That's human behavior, and that's fine. Look, if you guys like the sequel trilogy, so be it. That's fine. I myself have been very open about that. I like the sequel trilogy in short bursts. And what I mean by that is, I like specific scenes in these movies. I like specific moments in the sequel trilogy, but watching them from point A to point B per film is just not working for me. It just doesn't work. But I want to tune in. I'll tune in to watch a scene or two that really pops an eye for me. So anyways, this is really interesting about what Kennedy is putting out here, is that she's really making it clear that this movie is not going to do well. If you're getting this defensive, it doesn't look good. Especially coming out of Cannes, you had a lot of critics talking very low about this. Even Variety said that this movie is all about bringing back Indiana Jones minus the thrill. So the thrill is gone in this movie, and that is bad. We also know that there is a scene in this film where Helena reportedly punches Indiana Jones down to the ground to teach him a lesson, to knock some sense into him. And you know what? I think a lot of fans are going to react to that in a very specific way, to say the least. So, look, it's June 1st. We've got 29 days to go until this thing arrives, and it's going to be interesting post-release. We're talking about the first 2 weeks of July to see how this movie's going and where it's heading. So overall, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night to moon.